One of the hottest segments in today's market is what? Well, the 62-year end on the Kennedy half dollar as we know it. So what are we doing tonight? Well, something a little bit different. We're going back and looking at the history of the Kennedy, and there are 4 significant coins we need to talk about. So tonight, how about the significant Kennedy proofs? Let's have some fun. So in 1964, we bring out the Kennedy half dollar in tribute, right, of our past president. And we issued 3 coins, a P and a D for circulation, and then San Francisco. No, the first Kennedy was Philadelphia proof for collectors only in the proof sets. That all changed after 1964. And then in 1968, proof set took over San Francisco. San Francisco took over proof sets. And it's been that way since 1968. So we're talking half of a century. So this particular collection is going to highlight all the significant proof Kennedys, and there are 4 of them. We talked about the first one, the 64 Philadelphia, the only proof Philadelphia in this series of 62 years. Then we have the very first ever San Francisco proof, 1968. By the way, that is also a silver. We didn't change the copper clad in the Kennedy series until 1971. Well, then in 1992, for the 25th anniversary of San Francisco's striking proof sets, the U.S. Mint brought back again 90% silver. But now it's San Francisco style. So in 1992, we have the very first ever San Francisco proofs in silver. And then the last coin, and unfortunately a significant coin, is the end of the era. We started with 64, as you just saw here on your screen. That has to end with the last proof Kennedy as we know it, and that is 2025. So it is a 4-coin collection as referenced on your screen. Now, the price you're seeing is not the price for your choice. Pick the coin you want. That price you're seeing is for actually all 4 of these Kennedy proofs, and 3 of them are silver. My competition, well, here are their numbers: $61.95, $40.95, $58.95, and they're currently at $18.75 on the 25 proof. Add them all together, they're at $180 and change. We are over $100 less and all the good stuff. Everything's the same. So now, with all that said, let's take a small step back and talk about a proof. What is a proof? Because a proof was one of those significant add-ons by the U.S. Mint. Now, a proof originally, and we've been making proofs going back to the early 1800s, a proof was intended as a specimen. Hey, this is what the new coin is going to look like. What do you think? Or somebody comes and visits the country. People, places, things. They make a special coin, usually a proof. It's handed out as a special occasion. Well, this has been going on for over 100 years, and finally in the year 1950, 75 years ago, the U.S. Mint brought out proof sets for the consumer, us. So think about that. 1950s when this started as a collectible item for us as collectors. What is a proof? Well, a regular coin, a circulation strike, is struck once. Slap it and it goes out, right? Well, a proof, it's a process. It's a method of manufacture, actually. They take the dies, the obverse and reverse, and polish both, right? Then they polish the piece of metal. And as in this collection, 3 silver coins, 1 copper clad coin. They polish the planchet. And then a regular coin struck once, as I said, these are struck twice under enormous pressure, which gives them that mirrored background. And as you can tell, with that 3rd coin, that 1992, we've evolved how we make proofs. It used to look like, well, a mirror like the 64 and the 68. And now, when they got into the 1980s, they were able to contrast and add that frosting, which means it looks like the bust of Kennedy's floating on the coin, and it's water in the background, a deep, deep water. That is a proof. It is the best of the best. Every year without fail, P's and D's are made for circulation or collectors, and I'll get to that in a second. And or, no, then there's the proof. And they're only available in proof sets. You got to break sets to get this coin. And they are always the lowest mintage. Never anything but that. But here is the side of the story that most didn't realize. We stopped making Kennedys for circulation in 2001. 2002 to the present. We're in 2025. The Kennedy half dollar is made only for collectors. They made bags, they made rolls, they made them in uncirculated sets. Those were the unks, the business strikes, and they put the proofs in proof sets like they always did. So we had 20 plus years of a special coin being made for us because millions of people every year wanted a Kennedy half dollar. Well, next year we have USA 250. Everything's changing. Dual dates, and Kennedy will not be on the coin from what we were told. And then in 2027, we're starting a brand new series in the half dollar field, which is tied to the Special Olympics. And every year it'll be a different theme for 4 years, running through 2030. So the Kennedy half dollar as we know it, which is the obverse and this beautiful presidential seal reverse, 62 years comes to an end. And during those 62 years, there are 4, not 5, 4 significant proofs. And they're in this collection here tonight. 1964, the first year of issue, the far coin on your left is the only Philadelphia proof. 90% silver. Then we changed in 1968 to bring it in San Francisco. So the very first ever San Francisco proof. And then in 1992, we bring back 90% silver. Again, remembering what I said earlier, in 1971, we pulled silver, and now we have copper-clad Kennedys. So 92, we have the first ever 90% silver Kennedy proof. And last but not least is the anchor, the end of the era. So this collection has the first ever 64, the last ever the 25. It also has the 2 San Francisco significant firsts. The first ever San Francisco and the first ever 90% silver San Francisco. Guys, give me a 30-second clock, please. Phones are very busy right now. Let's do simple math, right? $69.95, so it's 70 divided by 2 is 35, divided by 2 is $17.50 per coin tonight as part of this beautiful tribute, the significant proof Kennedys, as it says on your graph. As I referenced earlier, our competition is a little over $180 for the same exact 4 pieces. Tonight, yeah, look at that price, $69.95, brings it home. And that's why we call this segment the Daily Deal.